Hi folks! So, you'll notice that I don't have a camera this time around because I use the web camera on my tablet. If I gave you a web camera now, you'd be getting a very sexy view of basically my ceiling and a bit of the fan, which would be, I'm sure, thrilling for everybody involved. Not. So today what I'm thinking I want to do is I want to make a pretty picture to show at the beginning of my art streams. Now, as you may have gathered from my profile picture, I quite like pigs. I actually have 2 pet pigs. I did have 3. Sadly, Tiny passed away a few years ago. I also do my own comic series about the pigs. So, what I'm definitely thinking is I kind of want a pig in this little intro image. We've got the little piggy butt with the little piggy tail, very important. And we kind of got some piggy ears, and a little piggy nose and some face down the bottom here. Alright, hello again folks, we should be up and running again. We can see my little piggy butt that we've drawn and nosing around in the paints. Okay, so we've got a little easel, we've got the piggy nosing around in some paint. Obviously I think we need a fallen tin of paint in the background for this piggy to be nosing around in this village of. We're going to have someone who has done some excellent art, I reckon, on this picture. And we're going to have a little pirate smiley face. Let's give them a little cheek scar too, because they're a bad pirate. They've done excellent, cool things. They've been in sword fights. And, anything else? I think I might do a little homage to my high school art teacher, who, if you're watching this, Miss Scott, thank you very much for putting up with me. But she used to eat whole capsicums, basically, just like apples, in the classroom. Weirded me out. I can't say I'm a big fan of capsicums, but she used to eat them, and so we've got a little capsicum there in the corner behind the paint. Maybe it's got a little splooge of paint on it. There we go. I think her piggy butt requires some paint on it too, doesn't it? Yeah. She's been rolling around in the paint. Okay. I reckon that's coming together quite nicely. I feel like I need something a little bit more in the background, but I don't want to go in too much on that without actually kind of going over the basics of it all first. So let's see, what kind of background do we want? I'm thinking probably a pretty I was going to say pretty pale background, maybe like a yellowy background. Thinking that this pig is probably closer to me, which makes her more of a brunette blonde sort of colour. And obviously, if I do like too much of an orangey background, we're not going to have a great deal of interest in terms of like the color that's going on. So let's see if we sort of just do some smooches of color and then set that to, no, overlay is not working for me. No, don't want new saturation color. I just want it to be a little bit dark. You know what, if I just go with the opacity actually, yeah. Now we've just got the faintest bit of texture on that background. Now you'll note that I am a terrible human who does not in any way, shape or form utilize that grand feature of naming all of her layers. I probably should. I'm always just, I sort of go, oh, I've got no time, oh, it's fine, I'll do it later, and then I end up with like 300 layers, and none of them are named, and none of them, I don't know what any of them are, and I have to like minus them later and like make them visible and invisible to try and figure out who's what and what's going on. Now, I could, you will note, be doing a nice path tool to make these nice smooth shapes for my paint splatters. I could definitely be doing that. I'm choosing not to, just because this is just a little quick one. I don't want to get too involved in trying to make everything perfect. I've really got that issue of, really just trying to get into perfection a lot of the time, and I often sort of sit there and I go, oh, I get too distracted by trying to make it perfect and exactly what I can see in my head. And I'm really trying to sort of break that habit a little bit at the moment, because while there's nothing wrong with trying to improve and be better, what it's been doing for me has mostly been, it's not been coming out perfect, it's not been doing what I want it to do in my head, and so I've been really just avoiding doing anything because it's not, because I can't achieve what I want to achieve and what I feel like I should be able to achieve. And yeah, I mean, there's no reason for me to feel like I should be able to achieve those things. Like, I don't practice enough, I don't study enough to really be expecting myself realistically to be improving to the degree that I feel like I should be improving. But, you have brains with ridiculous anxieties, and they sometimes are just like, ha, you know what, I'm going to expect you to be a marvelous, fantastic artist, or just fantastic at all sorts of stuff, and with, no sort of training or planning or any effort put into it, and my brain's just like, yes, we're going to be fantastic at this thing. Have I ever done that thing before? No. Was there any reason at all for me to be fantastically good at it? Also no. Okay, keep changing the wrong colour. Okay, so I'm thinking this first splodge over here, we're definitely going to keep some nice green in it. I am definitely feeling like the other ones, we're not going to be keeping the other ones green. I don't want shape dynamics. Come on, brush. Work with me here. We're not going to keep the other ones green. We're going to go for like a whole bunch of different sort of colours. Now, you kind of always want to put a little bit of a not quite the same colour in your colours when you're doing like the shading and the highlights. It really just helps bring everything out a little bit. So you can see that I chose a little bit of yellow to go in the highlights, and then I've gone for sort of a bluey green for this dark bit. Now, because this is liquid, I often find that what you kind of want is a little bit of a harder sort of brush, just doing some of the shadows in it and some of the highlights. Simply because while it looks very nice in terms of the nice kind of shading and what have you, it actually doesn't have so much of a softness to it when you're looking at the shadows, which is why we're going to go into some nice, very bright greens and just pop a little bit of highlights in there, and then we're going to do the very fine highlights with a smaller brush. And then you always want to put a very little bit of the highlights in the shadows as well. If you ever look at a water drop, they are, she says like she does all this for a lot of the time, but they've always got a little bit of the light reflection in the shadows. And I'm just kind of putting some there regardless of whether or not there would actually be any in that bit. And so there we have some pretty green paint spattered in that corner. Okay, so we've got these excellent splatters in there. Now, in my head, I have been envisioning these little piggy footprints, which you can see they've got their two little trotters. While pigs have 4 toes on their footsies, technically all animals are pentadactyl to some degree. They will have 5 digits, but whether or not all of them are the same size is, like, you don't know. Like horses have 5 toes. Bet you didn't know that. You think they've just got 1. They don't. So yeah, pigs have, interestingly, they've got like the 2 main trotters, which is the ones that you'll see on the ground when they make like their footprints, but they've also got 2 little tootsie toes just kind of there, that are their smaller toes. And then I believe, if I'm remembering my university biology correctly, I've really done that toe print the wrong way around. Then what you get is they've also got a 5th one sort of nestled up in the flesh of their feet. So we're just going in and we're giving these little tootsie tootsies the love and attention and shaping they deserve. Now, pig trotters are kind of pointed towards the end, and then they've got a broader bit at the back in their footprints, so that's what we're doing here. You can see we're kind of making them a little bit pointed and then curved at the back, sort of like apostrophes. I'm just going to go back in and clear up this first footprint that we did, because you can see I got a little bit better at drawing shapes as we progressed, and that first one is pretty embarrassing. So there we go, that's a little bit nicer. And ooh, okay, those ones are horrific, so we're just going to clear them up, and then I'm going to not look too hard at any of the other ones, because otherwise it will make me cry. Okay, so we've got some very sexy, not at all evenly sized Piggy footprints. Or like peaches, I guess. I would say that's why I chose not to make them pink, but let's not lie, I didn't think that far ahead. Totally ridiculous. Alright, so we've got some very pretty footprints. I'll probably add in maybe some splodges of blue along the way just to indicate that they are paint footprints and not just like, standard footprints. How about we do... I'm thinking probably a little Piggy here would be step one. So there are a couple of ways you can do this. One would be to start with the base color and go from there. But I tend to work with kind of thickish line work generally, and then once I've got the line work and I'm happy with it, I will color it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to break her down because she's sort of got a foreground and a background part that are not connected, which makes this a lot easier to draw and to shade. Now, I've gone and made that back toe a little bit large, haven't I? Considering the relative size of her other toe. Draw in her little belly, another little tootsie, and we're just putting little divots in there because she's got those two front toes, and so there's that little gap in between them that marks them as separate toes. I think we're actually going to do her tail on a separate layer, purely because it will make shading one heck of a lot easier. And for something this size, I will actually normally cheat, and I will fill that layer, and then thanks to my brush and its annoying habits, my filbert I just need to then go around the edges. It's not the greatest technique if you've got a complicated shape with a lot of internal parts to it. Now I'm just trying to, like I said, be a little bit rough and ready and try and really just get myself back into the hang of drawing stuff without it all needing to be stunningly perfect. Okay, we've got a nice big Piggy butt, all in black. And then we're just going to minus that away, and we're going to do a little tail too. Now what I'm also going to put on this layer with the tail is this big splooge of paint that we decided was going to be on her butt. Now, you could argue that for consistency's sake, what I should probably be doing is making this blue, because she's obviously been walking in blue paint. But also for consistency's sake, I will tell you that when pigs get into something, they don't half-ass that job, and they will get into everything that is even remotely related. My pigs once managed to get into an entire carton of beer, like a full 30-pack. Got absolutely fucking pissed, like were drunk as little piggy skunks, and yeah, had themselves a great time, drank an entire 30 cans of beer all by themselves, and had terrible hangovers the next day. So yeah, they will get into everything. So there we go, we've got a piggy with some nice yellow and some nice blue paint splodged all over her behind. Now, the other reason I wanted to draw the paint in first was because when I colour in Little Miss Piggy, if I'm gonna do... No, that's far too yellow, wow. Get my colour. I want sort of a nice palish brown, yeah, okay. We'll try with that. You can see that I've missed a few bits here because I was drawing over a dark colour with a black. So, that looks okay, and then we can really bring like some life and colour to her by using orangey toned shades to give her the shading. So the other reason that I wanted to do the paint blobs now is because they obviously need a little bit of shading under them, and that is way too much shading. Wow, okay. There we go, and we've got a beautifully highlighted piggy butt. Now, I think this is feeling a little bit like I am getting a little bit drained for the day, so I am going to leave it there. We've done our plan. We've done our paint splatters, our piggy footprints, and a piggy butt. I will come back probably next week, and we can finish off the piggy head, the little pirate smiley easel, and the paint, as well as those little pencils that we added in there. I will see you folks all next week. Thank you for putting up with me and my general shenanigans, and I hope you've had a lovely time on this stream. Have a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful long weekend if you're in any of the Australian states that have it. I know I am. I am so gonna relax tomorrow. I might even do a stream tomorrow. Who knows? But yeah, thank you so much for coming and hanging out, and have a lovely day. See you folks later. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. You can like and subscribe, that'll really help me out. And if you want to support me, check out my Patreon, Creative Pigs, and you can catch me on Twitch for my live streams every Saturday and Sunday. Thanks so much. Have a lovely day.